Welcome to Men, Relationships, and Other Fables, where you find thought-provoking conversations and insights that transform. Please welcome our host, Nicole W. Over to you, Nicole.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here. We learn and grow from those who have done the work and manifested phenomenal success in business and in life. Today, I have Jay Tizzle, the founder and CEO of Tizzle Muzic. Tizzle Muzic is more than a record label. It's a community keeping the flame alive. Thank you for being on the show, Jay.
Thank you for having me.
Glad to have you. So, Jay, please share a little bit about Tizzle Muzic, how you got started, and a moment of truth that was a breakthrough for your company.
Okay, no problem. Basically, I kind of started out as a hobby. Started out producing, which I do as well. And I started as a hobby, something that I was doing in my free time.
When did you start? When did you start
Excuse
this
me?
up? When did you start?
I started producing around 2015, 2016. Mm-hmm. And I just kind of kept at it. And a friend of mine who is a established musician and singer, he's been in a few bands and had some success with his music career. And I got some insight from him about the music business, and also asked him, what do you think about my music? Is it something that you think I can move forward with? And he gave me his opinion and said, that my music was pretty good and he liked it. So that just kind of fueled me to just kind of step out on a limb and just get my music out there to see what was my response. And then from there, I decided, because I've always wanted, and when I was younger and growing up, I kind of always wanted to be in the music business. It was something that always interested me. I started out collecting music from a very young age, and always just had a love for music. Even though I was athlete first, music was in me, as far as my family and different people in my family associated with music. So I think it was just something that was always in me, and a love for a passion of mine. And then I just kind of had the opportunity to move forward with it. And I say around 2017, I started up Tizzle Muzic, and I took it from there. It was just me, as far as the only artist on the label. Released some EPs and albums. And from there, I was able to have a joint venture with another record label, still doing my thing, but I released an album with them called Technophonics, and I released with them. And then after that, I kept pursuing my career. And then along the way, I was involved with a few artists, started picking up artists, giving them insight on their career, helping them out. And then I was given another opportunity to get with a label that was a step up, or a little bigger than what I was doing with myself. And I did another joint venture with them, Fluent Records, and based out of New York, and released some music through them, and also A&R for a year with them, which gave me a lot of knowledge of the business. And I decided from there to just mainly focus on my label and building my label and my brand, and took in a few more artists and just start building from there. And I would say the Affluent deal was kind of like a breakthrough for me, in a sense of just learning more about the business and being more hands-on with artists. So that I would say that was a kind of breakthrough moment for me.
Wow.
That
I do have a question.
Pretty much sums it. Yes.
I do have a question for you. So, there are a lot of very famous self-made record label executives. Who inspires you? Who's your inspiration in terms of, what you're wanting to accomplish for Tizzle Muzic?
Wow, great question. Because there's so many, but I would say if I would have to pick one, this is a good question. If I would say pick one, I would lean towards Dr. Dre, because of his ability to produce and also run a record label or company. So both sides of the fence, I would say. So I would look up to him.
Yeah, he certainly is a legend.
Yes, indeed.
Yes. So.
And he was I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead. I want to hear what you got to say.
I was just going to add to it. Yeah, that was one of the early influences in my love of music, I guess, growing up, getting into hip hop. And I've always been a fan of Dre's even before the NWA days. So I would really lean because he musically and business, he's a influence.
Yeah, he's a package.
Yeah,
definitely. So, Jay, we have a few questions about the real world of business and relationships. So we did a survey and we posed this question. What would you ask someone who is successful in business about relationships? So here's the first question. When it comes to knowing who to trust and who you can work with, what has been your biggest lesson?
My biggest lesson, another great question. In this music business, come across many different kinds of people. And so it can be, at times it can be, I guess, rough in a sense of finding true friends or friendships or great business partners. I would say it's really a trial and error. Because sometimes people, can come off as, trustworthy or, someone that you think you might want to continue or do business with, and then you find out down the line that this person may have had a different motive than what you have. But I would just say over time you learn, you kind of know the type of people that you're going to attract to or that you want to be involved with. It's just a feeling. I think over time you get to know people and you kind of know how they come off, what type of person they're going to be, because it's really hard. Because I've been in situations where I've trusted people and it didn't turn out well. But it's just a learning experience. I would just say kind of and go with your gut. If you feel like it's someone that you really don't trust or you don't feel that is really trustworthy or have the same interests, and then you might want to, you just might want to stay away from those type of people.
Well, it sounds to me like you're just, kind of tuning into how people operate. There's what they say and then what they do that doesn't always align.
Yes.
And a lot of, sometimes you're having to watch, listen to what they say, but you're really watching what they're doing.
Yes, exactly. And I'll give it time. Like I say, it might come off as, great in the beginning, but as over time, you really get to see who the true person is. So a lot of times you want to give it some time, or, if it's someone you just meet or they say this or say that, just give it some time. Because in this, like I say, in this business, it's sharks, and with anything that you're doing. But I'm really strong on just going with my gut and filling people out and just really what my intuition tells me.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, do you have like a particular situation that occurred where you had someone where you really thought that the two of you were aligned, and then it turned out that wasn't really the case? Yes.
And I won't throw any names out, but I would say, like I say, during getting started and getting with hooking up with different labels or different situations, going into it thinking that, one way, and then, and then as time goes on, you learn that, with conversation and different techniques and practices that the other person may use is not something that you, I guess, would classify as ethnical on your part, you know what I'm saying, or your values, or go against kind of what you believe in. And then, you have, I would say, then you have an opportunity. If you get an opportunity, then, you can move on or stay in that situation. So in my instance, I decided to move forward with my career and what I was doing, and to kind of man my own ship, I would say. But yeah, I've had a few situations, not many, but I've had a few where, some of the industry people will say, hey, this, and this, you want to do this, and then it doesn't, it doesn't pan out that way.
Well, speaking of that, I'm just going to go on a deep dive, and just to ask, on your path as entrepreneur, have you encountered any naysayers or saboteurs? And if so, were you surprised about who they were?
Well, I can honestly say no one has told me in my face or told me, directly, like, this isn't going to work. But sometimes with people's actions, you can kind of sense that. They might not come out and tell you per se, but they don't support you. So I take that as someone being a naysayer. I wouldn't specifically have one person or, a group of people, but I just know in being in business, and I've actually had a business prior to this at a young age, and I had more naysayers then, probably because I had something to prove, in a sense that at my age of being 24 and starting a business, people didn't believe me, or no, you can't do that, man. Because, you're around your friends or the people you're hanging with, and they're not doing exactly what you're doing, so they don't think certain things are attainable. So I had more then, per se, like straightforward. But with the music thing, I think it's more of just people they're not going to tell me that because they know that I'm a grinder. And so I think it's just more of like not really supporting what I'm doing. I see a lot of that as far as locally, but I don't really have any one person that's really told me that.
I can relate to that because I started a consulting firm at 30. And most of my peers were, they were just working in jobs. And
right.
There's something to be young and starting an enterprise. And I had that business for a very long time. And, before I completed on that and was, very successful at that. So, I noticed that, some of my competitors in business, and I was just really surprised. There was one firm that was larger than mine. And the owner was trying to poach my clients. And just really kind of like, it was just really, she was very, very stealthy. So what she would do is she'd want to invite me to lunch when she knew I was at a client site, and she wanted me to invite her into the client office. And so when I suggested that we meet off site, you know, because it wasn't appropriate to invite her into their offices, right? Because, I mean, there's pretty much high security. You can't just bring anyone in. And so she changed her mind about lunch very quickly. And so at that point, I really got, you know, I just thought she was just a really good colleague in the industry, because, you know, when you just know people, you know, they have businesses, they're your peers. And a lot of times, you know, you're just trading notes and learning and growing together. But I really got that, you know, she had an ulterior motive in terms of how she operated. So I treated her like a snake.
Yeah.
Admire her from afar. You know, so you know, if you're not, let me tell you something, you know, you're doing business when you have stuff like that comes up. That means that you must be viable. So it's actually a good thing, right? So thank you for sharing about that. We have another question coming right up for you. So the next question from the survey is, from your experience, what mindset is needed to balance romantic and business relationships where the things you do are empowered?
Oh, okay. So basically, what you're asking me is how to blend the both romantic side and business.
Where you stay empowered. Like, how do you, you know, kind of like, you know, they're always saying, get your mind right. Like, what do you, you know, how do you get your mind right to balance, you know, your romantic relationship and business?
Good question. These are great. Well, this is a good one, because this is something that I had I struggle with, in a sense of really diving into my craft and spending like over the amount of time with my work. So throughout the years, I've had to learn how to delegate work time and then off of work time, you know, like, because sometimes I'll go I'll go all every day of the week or so many hours a week. But then I had to learn how to, you know, set aside time for other things, as far as relationships and being a responsible parent and things like that. And I would say, actually, and I had to look at it like in the sense of, it's good to do those things, like to get your mind, because you get so caught up in what you're doing. And I kind of get in the sense of like a workaholic type, and I get caught up in that, and I need that break from what I'm doing day to day. And so now I look at it as not as a time to reflect on just being relaxed and just getting my mind away from the day to day work or what a business that I'm doing. And so I kind of look forward to it more then. And so I'm able to put a certain amount of time or day, or, you know, hey, this day I'm not doing anything. I'm just going to, you know, focus on this. No business. And you have to do that because you'll find yourself in like a cycle of just, you know, waking up, doing what you do, you know, you get in a rut, and it's kind of hard, and you might have to, it sounds kind of corny, but you might have to, you know, write things down for scheduling. I start doing that more, or like associating what days I want to do this and actually sticking to that, because not purposely, because I'm caught up in what I'm doing, I'll forget certain things, or I'm not realizing that, hey, I'm not spending enough time, I'm not being romantic enough, or I'm not, you know, because you get in this cycle of you know, you do this or this, you got to do this, that. And then when you're done, you're tired and you go to bed and you get up and do the same thing. And so, I just learned to kind of schedule out time, to balance the two and to get some space where I can clear my head, which is very important because you can get frustrated doing the same thing over and over. And, spending time on your craft, something that you love, but at the same time, not breaking away from that can be a problem.
Yeah. You're talking about your craft and like having balance. So your craft. So let me ask you this question. For you, what difference does your craft make in the world that drives you to be able to make a difference for the people in your life? So, like at me, I know that when my work was really for really making a difference in the world of technology, because that's what my background is. But it's also the big picture. I'm doing it for my family, even though I'm making a difference. It's like I'm creating a legacy. I'm creating wealth for family and security, and that's what drove that's what drove me in that business. And so what I was doing was really for them, and so my mindset was really about making a difference. So what would make a difference in this moment for, everyone, not just like, okay, I got to work and I know you want to do this, but it's like, what will make the difference so that everyone is whole and well out of my work, including me. Yes. So that would be my mindset. What's your mindset for when you're, doing what you do?
Very similar. That's kind of what fuels me. That's why I kind of goes back to what I was saying, where I get focused because in my eyes, I'm very competitive. That goes back to what I was mentioning about being an athlete, I think. So to me, it's about winning, and in winning doesn't necessarily for me doesn't mean being famous or really wealthy. It's just being able to do something and set out to do it and give it my all and try to do the best at it that I can do. And that's that, and alone my family. That's really why I do it. I mean, I do it because I love, like I said, I love music. But it's really fighting hard and grinding to leave a legacy and leave something from my family. So that's really what fuels me when I kind of don't want to do it or, things of that nature. But that fuels me. That mindset of leaving something behind that is of value that one day, my family can take over, live the legacy, and, continue what I had worked hard to do. And that's really it. It's really not about me. I really do stuff for a lot of other people. I didn't in mind of helping artists and really doing it for my family. So that's why I do it.
There's something that you said. I just want to kind of put my finger on. You said you really are into winning, and what I heard was really what you're committed to is you winning and everyone in your life winning. Like that's what drives you. That's what drives your craft. Yes. That's what drives the work that you do when you mentor young artists. That's what drives you with your family, that everyone wins. So I think that's really empowering. Just want to share that.
Thank you. Yeah, that's in a nutshell, that's really is about and sometimes because I'm that type of person, it bites me sometimes, but that's just who I am. And sometimes people can take advantage of that, but it's really about, I'm happy if someone on my team is successful. That's that's great for me. Not so I wouldn't say for just me in general as a producer, or get famous or something. That's really not, I'm more happy for the ones around me and building something that everybody can win, and when where you say that, that's great, because I feel like, if I win, then everybody that's involved with me, around me, I can, they're winners too. So, because that's
and
what I'm
vice versa
doing
as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. If they're winning, that's your success out there.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So if they're winning and I'm doing what I'm doing and they win, I'm winning. So that's been my motto when I've started this record. I wanted to do something a little different than the norm of what stigma that record companies and the music business is about. It can be shrewd, because it's a business, but I wanted to approach it the way I would approach everyday life and how I deal with people. I wouldn't say I'm not a pushover, but I'm not here to I'm here to create winners.
Yeah, so. You're in it to win it. I got it.
Yeah,
it's pretty powerful. So we're going to take a moment and listen to a track from the Real J Israel on a segment of the show we call Groove Moves. Now, you go whether the track is in the groove or needs to be scratched.
All right.
So, DJ, let's...
See your heart
So, Jay, is the track in the groove?
It's in the groove.
It's in the groove. Okay, I got
It's
it. I'm
groove.
getting the track. I'm saying it's in the groove too. It's a very chill kind of R&B sound, like late '90s. Kind of reminds
Exactly.
me. Yeah. So, if you like Say, performed by the Real Jay Israel, please check him out at therealjayisrael.com. So, Jay, are you ready for another survey question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, our next question from the survey is, what are the 3 pitfalls you have seen people fall into when it comes to balancing their romantic, family, or community relationships while working to have a successful business?
3 pitfalls. I would say one. I would say one being selfish, not thinking of your family or loved ones or people around you. I would say 2. I would say not. How would I want to say this? Not being aware of the people around you, in a sense of, if, sometimes people let you know when you're not being involved in their life enough, or you're doing one or the other too much, so just paying attention to the people around you, what they're saying, how they feel.
Say more about that. Yeah. Say more about that.
I would say
from your own personal experience.
Yes. I would say, because sometimes, I would say, just take an example of, just say you family wise, your family, if you have kids or whatnot, relationship. Sometimes people around you, if you're not giving enough of your time or yourself, sometimes people are not going to just come to you and say, straight up, hey, let's just spend some time, or I need a little more of your time, your quality time. Sometimes they might display it in different actions, or the way they, their demeanor, the way they act towards you, or sometimes it might be attitudes, it might be and you kind of gotta, I would say, be open and be aware of, how someone's feeling, or being concerned in the sense of even asking. But sometimes, you like I say, you get into what you're doing, your daily life, and what you're doing, work or business, and you don't pay attention to those things. You kind of have your blinders on, and sometimes
have you had that happen to you? Can you share about an incident where that happened in your life?
I wouldn't say probably to a certain extent, but not to the level where it was kind of an issue. I try to, once again, I as learning, I try to balance. So I haven't had it hasn't been a major problem, but I've noticed it before in the past, okay, maybe I need to take a step back here and spend some more quality time with my kids. I'm doing this for them, but sometimes you need to step back, because those are the people that's going to be, your family's going to be there when you don't, even if you don't, your business doesn't make it or is not there anymore, you still have family. And so those are concerns that, I would say you definitely want to pay attention to that. And then 3, the third thing I would say, well, that's kind of the same thing. I'll just say, just be humble.
Let me ask you, can you share a pitfall that you actually fell into around balancing romantic, family, and community relationships?
Okay, sure. I would say, like I say, things I've had to work on in the past, if I've had situations where, I've been, grinding, putting 10, 12 hours into what I'm doing Monday through Sunday, weeks on end. Relationships get shaky, you know, because you're not spending that time or doing the things that you used to do.
Can you share can you give us a little bit of insight and example?
Yes. There's times where, and I don't know, like, I can't remember specific dates, but when I first started out, I was really going really hard with the business and just grinding really hard. And I noticed that, like my kids were like, they didn't like necessarily come out and say it, but I could feel that they wanted some more daddy attention. And so, it was kind of like because they were turning it out to be, later down line teens, kind of teens going into young adulthood. And I noticed it, with the way they would act around me, or it's kind of hard just because your kids, so it's like a vibe, a feeling. You're like, something's not right. So let me sit down and see if it's something that I need to better myself at. Let me take a moment. And that's why I say sometimes you got to take a step back and just clear your head and just think about things like that. And I knew that it was something probably that I was doing, and it wasn't, like I say, necessarily thrown in my face, because I don't think that they wanted me to feel bad. But at the same time, I knew it was something that I could do better, and that I wasn't, when I sat down and really let time stop for a minute and like, man, I haven't been spending enough quality time, and this is not what, I want to do. As far as I never started a business to be away from my family. Mm-hmm. And so, but it's hard, especially when you're a person that really goes hard, you know what I mean? And I, to this day, I always try to keep that in mind when I start getting off the track, or, thinking about this too much. And then I have to stop and think about the most important thing is my family, and, stepping back, get my spirituality together, and just, trying to be a better person. And that would be basically my end. One of the incidents, that I could say that, kind of straightened me up, to where, hey, and then it also been my parents, them being elderly and not, checking on them as much as I should, because I'm in my craft, I'm in what I'm doing. So, I noticed it with myself, and I had to take a step back and just figure out, hey, what's going on? Is it something that I'm doing? Let me check myself. Let me check my temperature. You know what I mean? And that's what I did. And then, things were, and then you talk it out, and then you just, talk with your family. I try to have, once a week or at least once a month, try to have family talk time, which is good, just so everybody can express themselves and get anything off the chest, or if, there's a problem with what I'm doing, or as a parent, and I would say that would be my incident.
What you shared is a very common pitfall, because you get so focused on, your craft. And it's not that people don't understand. They love you and they just want to be with you,
right.
Your family,
right.
And kids, and, just, carving out that time, and then, and I do tell you that, having been both an entrepreneur and a child of an entrepreneur, because my dad had a business.
Oh,
and,
awesome.
Yeah, and he was not. And my mom was a stay-at-home mom, so she focused on us, and Dad focused on his business. We had actually about 3 or 4 different businesses, and it seemed like he was just never there. Like my memory as a child. But now as an adult, I'm like, you know what? I really got my dad so loved us. He was committed to us really being taken care of. And he did all those things. But when I was a child, it wasn't always that clear because I was just missing my dad, right? I was missing my dad. Right. But, as an adult looking back, I mean, he really inspired me to be in business. He really inspired me. And he was really committed to taking care of family. And he would notice and carve out a little time, like, okay, look, we're just going to get ice cream or he'd bring home surprises. I mean, those little things to let, I see you, I'm still there. So that makes a huge difference.
No, yes, it does. And I try to do those same things with my kids, which I just did something similar yesterday, because Valentine's is coming up. So I was hey, just the small things, just to let them know that I'm here and I think of them. I'm pretty much working a lot, but and I wouldn't call it work. I want to rephrase that.
It's play when you're. It's play when you're.
It's not.
Craft.
And that can be a gift and a curse, because when you enjoy what you're doing, time is not an essence. So I don't start my day off with, okay, I'm going to do 4 hours a day. I'm going to do 6 hours a day. Because when I hang the phone up or get off this, I'm probably going to go and do something. Because it's hard. It's hard for me. Something might come across my mind. Hey, check on this. So I find myself, because I enjoy it. So I can really get caught up into what I'm doing and not realize how much time I've been invested in, and sometimes, family will, hey, take a break. Yeah, you deserve it. Hey, not today. So I try to take that in and listen, which is hard sometimes.
Yeah, and then when you do take that break and you connect with them, it really is a way to recharge yourself, and it charges them too.
Yes, because now you're around and you're giving them, your undivided attention. Not answering calls. I'm not doing anything. So it works for me and my family. So I try to do those things when I feel like, I'm really getting caught up in what I'm doing, or I've been spending a lot of time on my craft. And so I just try to balance it out the best way I can. And I hopefully, like your situation, when my kids, get older and I do have older kids too. So I try to do that too, to inspire them. So that's why I grind hard as well. And I hope that, it reflects with them, my work ethic and everything and what I'm trying to establish and create for the family. So
it will, it really will, because you're their role model.
Mm-hmm.
So I have one final question. There's a lot going on, So if you had a magic wand and you could change one thing, what would it be?
COVID. Wipe it out. Wipe it out.
I'm with you.
And I'll say that, because COVID has caused a lot of situation issues, problems. So knocking that out, I think, would help a lot of things, not just one thing, but a lot of issues that we're having right now. So yeah, I would say COVID.
Yeah, it would make a huge difference for the planet if COVID just disappeared.
Yeah, go back to normal. and it's so, because it's been around almost, I would say about a year now, I think. And, it's going up, so now we're getting used to a certain way of life. And, I think about that too, like, things like, cause actually, coming up now would be, which I do every year around Valentine's, I go to the Chicago Auto Show. And, it's just been a, tradition of mine for the last 3 or 4 years or so. And so just going back to, just doing regular stuff that you would take for granted, like, normal times you just say, hey, we're going to go, we're going to scale, now it's just it's just a whole different way of living. And we're kind of getting used to that, I think, the new way of living. And I would love to go back to the way it used to be. I would definitely, I would wipe out COVID.
I got it. So this has been a really great conversation. Thank you, Jay, for sharing your wisdom.
Oh, thank you for having me.
It's been my pleasure. So, Jay, how can our listeners learn more about Jay Tizzle Muzic?
Yes, you can learn more about me. I'm on social media. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And I also have a website. Most of all my social media handles are Jay Tizzle Muzic. So at Jay Tizzle Muzic, that's with a Z. That's MUZIC. My website is www.jtizzlemusic.com. And, you can, look me up on my social media, find out, what I'm up to, keep track of my artists that I'm working with, and learn, you can kind of learn in the gamut of what I'm about and what I do.
Awesome. Thank you for being our guest. It was really great having you.
It was great. This was an awesome conversation.
It really was an awesome conversation. Thank you. I am Nicole W., and you have been listening to Men, Relationships, and Other Fables. Until next time.